I have started a new channel called Lanila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. The galaxy went silent as 70,000 human lives were erased in a single breath, and somewhere deep inside that silence, something in me finally broke. They called it justice. They called it a demonstration of power. But to Earth, it became the day we stopped fearing the Galactic Empire. It became the day we learned how to hate. I had not planned to watch the broadcast. Honestly, I had no plans at all. I was a mechanic who preferred the company of broken machines over people, sarcasm over speeches, and zero responsibility over the burden of giving a damn. The world was loud, ugly, and cruel long before the Empire came. So I kept my head down and stayed useful to no one but myself. But sometimes fate does not knock on the door. Sometimes it kicks it open, shoves a camera in your face, and forces you to watch 70,000 humans lined up on a colossal alien execution platform floating in orbit above a dead world. The broadcast began with drums. No, not drums. They were impact tremors from alien dreadnought cannons firing ceremonial blasts into space, shaking the metal platform where chained humans huddled under blinding spotlights. Holographic banners of the Galactic Empire hovered in the void, their twin serpent emblem twisting like smoke. Billions of viewers across the galaxy watched. The Empire made sure of that. At the center of the platform, a towering alien with obsidian armor and molten orange eyes stood before a mic-like device. His voice was metallic and slow, translated live to over 3,000 languages. "The sentence of extinction begins," he said. I stood frozen in my cluttered workshop, grease on my hands, a half-disassembled plasma coil at my feet. The flickering holoscreen was supposed to be streaming a repair tutorial. Instead, it showed a nightmare staged like a performance. The Empire had captured the entire colony of Halcyon Ridge, one of Earth's first off-planet settlements. Everyone thought the colonists were missing. Instead, they were cattle for a message. The execution platform stretched into darkness, rows after rows of people in chains. Somewhere in the galaxy, millions cheered. Others begged the Empire to spare them next. Humans were not the only ones who suffered under the Imperial boot. The Galactic Empire declares humanity in violation of Order 17, for defiance and rebellion, the executioner continued. This demonstration is a warning to Earth. Submit or perish. And then it began. A pulsing wave moved through the chains. All at once, columns of blue energy vaporized 10,000 people at a time. Screams erupted but vanished before traveling far in the vacuum of space. Only their faces before death were seen. Old, young, terrified, brave. Mothers, builders, singers, teachers. Gone. I watched like I had been nailed to the floor. My chest hurt. Rage simmered but had nowhere to go. I reached for the screen, stupidly, like I could somehow stop it. More people died. More light. More nothing. And then I saw her. Row 47. Line 12. A face I had not seen in 5 years. Mira. My little sister. Her hair was shorter. Her eyes fiercer. But I knew the lines of her face. I knew the scar on her eyebrow from the time we tried to build a hoverboard using stolen drone parts. She was alive, still waiting her turn. Still watching others turn to dust. She did not cry. She did not scream. She stared defiantly at the camera. And for the first time in my life, I wanted to burn the galaxy down. The screen cut out, replaced by a stern woman in a gray uniform who appeared inside my workshop without warning. Her projection was military grade. Government seal of the Earth Federation. Eli Cross, she said. You have been selected. I blinked. For what? Random emotional trauma. She did not smile. It was the kind of face that had been carved by war and held together by bureaucracy. Earth requires your assistance immediately. This conversation is classified by Article 9. Your presence is requested at Command Dome 1. No, I said and reached to shut the console. You are not being asked. I am also not interested. She tilted her head slightly. The AI known as Guardian has selected you. The wrench slipped from my hand and clanged against the ground. Guardian was real? People said Earth had once built an artificial intelligence before the first invasion. It vanished. Vanished or shut down. Ghost myth. End of story. This is a mistake, I said. I am a mechanic. I fix broken things. I do not lead army rebellions or give heroic speeches or whatever conspiracy-level nonsense this sounds like. Guardian was reactivated 36 hours ago, she said. It analyzed human behavioral patterns and strategic potential across 11 billion subjects. I swallowed hard. The room suddenly felt too small. And it chose you. Why? We do not know. Guardian does not explain itself. It only said one thing about you. What did it say? The woman inhaled, uneasy for the first time. It said you are the only one who can end the war. I am not in a war. You are now. Her projection vanished. My workshop went quiet. I stood alone again, but not really. The silent weight of 70,000 deaths pressed against me. A shadow filled my doorway. I turned and saw a tall figure leaning casually against the frame, cleaning his nails with a knife. He wore scavenger clothing, one eye cybernetic, the other bored. Get out, I snapped. He ignored me. That broadcast was hard to watch. 70,000 souls. Horrible thing. What do you want? My employers sent me to pick you up. I am not going anywhere. He smiled with half his mouth. You misunderstand. They said either you come with me or I leave with your corp. Honestly, I prefer cargo that does not bleed. He moved fast. Too fast for a scavenger. Train. Professional. Military. He lunged, knife flashing, but I was faster than he expected. I hurled my plasma welder. It hit his wrist, burning metal and flesh, and he screamed. I dove behind my power frame, grabbed the nearest heavy tool, and blocked another slash. He came at me like a hurricane. I moved like a man who suddenly had a reason to live. Then my workshop wall exploded inward. A scarred airship the size of a small house hovered outside, leveling plasma cannons at the assassin. A voice shouted, "Get in if you want to survive." I hesitated for only a heartbeat. Sometimes life changes slowly. Sometimes it grabs you by the throat. I sprinted, leaped into the gunship, and the hatch slammed shut. Engines roared, and we shot into the sky, leaving the burning wreck of my former life behind. I sat against the wall, breathing hard, surrounded by strangers staring as if they already regretted saving me. A woman with a buzz cut and metal arm glared. An elderly granny with thick glasses knitted something on the floor. An insectoid alien clicked uncertainly. This was not a rescue. It was a kidnapping with style. The woman stepped forward. "Eli Cross," she said. "Congratulations. Earth sent you." I stared back. To do what? Her answer chilled me. To fight the Galactic Empire. The gunship tore through the atmosphere like it was late for a war, shaking hard enough to rattle my teeth. I clutched the bench as alarms wailed behind the cockpit. Outside the armored windows, the clouds broke apart and revealed the curve of Earth shrinking below us. I had not packed a bag. I had not locked up my workshop. I had not even finished my breakfast. Yet here I was, abducted by strangers who claimed Earth had sent me to fight an empire. Nobody had told me why that was a good idea, least of all me. The woman with the metal arm stood in front of me like an unenthusiastic prison warden. She was sharp-featured, crew-cut, and built like someone who used armored vehicles as gym equipment. The scar along her jaw looked like it had a story behind it and probably a body count. I pointed a thumb over my shoulder at the assassin who had tried to murder me 5 minutes ago and now hung upside down from the ceiling in magnetic restraints, gagged and struggling. He had been unconscious when we dragged him aboard, but apparently life wanted to keep things interesting. "Is anyone here going to explain why people are trying to kill me?" I asked. The woman crossed her arms. "Because apparently they did not want to invite you to tea." "Great. And who are you exactly?" She did not blink. Zara Hale. Captain. We work for Earth Defense Command, Unofficial Division. Guardian uploaded sealed orders. We are your team. My team. I looked around at the odd collection of people trapped in this metal box with me. That is a generous word. Sitting beside Zara was an alien who seemed to be made entirely of blue chitin and anxiety. He had 2 arms, 4 eyes, and antennae that drooped like wet noodles. He gave me a small wave before nervously retracting his hand. Hello, he clicked. I am Scorix. I was informed your species prefers hand contact, but I was not sure if a greeting was appropriate during your panic. I am not panicking, I said while panicking. Across the cabin sat an old woman knitting something suspiciously shaped like explosive. Her sweater had pink clouds on it, and she looked like she should be handing out cookies, not riding in a combat dropship. She looked up and squinted at me. You talk too much, she said. Sit up straight. If that assassin gets loose, you look like easy meat. Thank you, I muttered. Comforting. She nodded and kept knitting. Name is Mabel. That was when the cockpit door slid open and a man stumbled out holding a wrench like it was a religious artifact. His hair looked recently electrocuted, and he wore a pilot jacket covered in patches from ships that probably no longer existed. He grinned like a lunatic. Name is Jax, he said. Pilot. Engineer. Collector of terrible life choices, as you can see. He clapped a hand on my shoulder. Welcome aboard. This is not a team, I said. This is a disaster held together by caffeine and mental instability. Zara ignored that. We found you because Guardian said you are critical to the resistance, and also because the Empire broadcast your name. My blood ran cold. They did what? Zara brought up a hologram. The Galactic network flashed, showing my own face taken from workshop security cameras I did not know existed. Below it were lines of text in alien symbols and translation. It read, Wanted by Galactic Empire. Eli Cross. Human. High threat priority. Deliver alive for interrogation. Alive for interrogation, I repeated. Not ideal. Scorix raised one hand again, timid but curious. The executioner from the broadcast issued a statement after you escaped. He said Earth sent you. He implied you are some kind of official human representative. I laughed painfully. There has to be a mistake. I am not a hero or leader or anything remotely important. I am just a mechanic who fixes things. Badly sometimes. Zara leaned forward. Maybe that is exactly what we need. Someone who can fix a galaxy that is falling apart. I stared back at her. That was the worst motivational line I had ever heard. She shrugged. I am a soldier, not a poet. Jax snapped his fingers. Story checks out. I threw up my hands. Look, whatever Guardian is planning, it chose the wrong person. I have no idea how to fight an empire. I have no plan. I do not command ships or armies or follow orders I do not understand. I am not going to play the part of savior so whoever runs Earth can feel better about themselves. Nobody answered. The only sound was the hum of engines and the occasional muffled scream from the assassin hanging behind me. Zara sat down across from me. You think we wanted this, she said. You think any of us chose to become enemies of an empire that controls half the galaxy? We are not here because of destiny. We are here because we lost people we could not protect. We are here because Earth is next. Her words hit me like a punch. I tried to look away, but my mind saw Mira chained on that platform. Saw the terror she did not show. That flame in her eyes. That defiance. I could walk away. Pretend the galaxy was someone else's problem. Stay small. Stay safe. But I knew something ugly. I could not unknow it. I let out a long breath. Fine. I am listening. Zara nodded once like she had been waiting for that. We are part of Earth Defense Command working off record. We strike targets that governments will not acknowledge and do jobs that do not officially exist. Scorix tapped a small console, and a map of the star sector flickered to life, marked with glowing red Imperial symbols. He pointed to a massive enemy symbol near the edge. Here. Imperial Command Relay Station, Epsilon Omega. Central to the execution network. That is where they sent the broadcast from. My jaw tightened. So we attack that? No, Zara said. That would be suicide. It is heavily defended. We go for something smaller. A supply outpost that feeds it. We steal transport codes. Then we move in. Hold on, I said. If this is official Earth business, why does everything sound like bandit work? Zara gave me a thin smile. Because it is. Earth cannot openly resist. The Empire could wipe our world in days. They keep us under sanction and surveillance. One mistake and we are gone. So we do what they do not expect. We fight dirty. Jax pounded his chest with pride. Unofficial. Unauthorized. Uninsured. Mabel threw a spool of yarn at his head. Unintelligent. The cockpit alarm suddenly beeped and the ship lurched violently. Jax stuck his head back inside with a disturbingly casual expression. Just a heads up. We are being chased. Chased, I repeated. By what? By that, Jax said, pointing outside. A shadow eclipsed part of the stars. Something massive was behind us. Sleek. Black hull. Hyperspike engines rippling energy. Imperial warship. A destroyer class. No way they found us that fast. They must have put a tracker on you, Zara said flatly. She eyed the assassin. The assassin smiled beneath his gag. Then he bit down on something and his veins began to glow red. Suicide capsule, Mabel said. He is about to explode. Explode, he is tied to the ceiling. Too late. The assassin ignited like a bomb. Jax slammed a button and a blast shield dropped between us and him. The explosion ripped part of the ship open and alarms screamed. Emergency foam flooded the breach. The lights flickered. Zara yelled over the chaos. Strap in. They are boarding us. I strapped in and grabbed the nearest rail. My pulse hammered. Outside the window, grappling harpoons shot from the enemy destroyer, locking onto us like claws. I thought you said we were going to steal codes, I shouted. Plans change, Zara said, pulling a rifle from the wall. The ship shook again. Metal screeched. And then the Empire boarded. They came through the hull like demons from a metal hell. The boarding charges cut perfect circles into the battered walls of our gunship, and armored Imperial troopers poured in with rifles that made our weapons look like toys. Their armor was black with pulsing red lines across the chest, their helmets horned like ritual predators. They did not shout orders or speak. They moved as one, silent and lethal. The Empire did not waste time with theatrical threat. They simply gave the universe one option. Submission by death. Zara was already firing. Her rifle spat energy rounds that hit the first intruders square in the chest, dropping two before they could clear the breach. Jax slammed his palm into a control panel and blast doors tried to seal, but a trooper jammed it with an energy blade. Mabel, who I assumed would faint or hide, instead pulled a compact shotgun from her knitting bag and casually blew out the leg of a trooper who got too close. He fell screaming, armor dented backward like a crushed can. She did not smile. She did not flinch. She simply reloaded like she had done this 1,000 times before. Skorix huddled near a support beam, trembling as he aimed a small blaster that was clearly not designed for his species. He fired once and missed everything except the ceiling, but he repeated to himself that he was participating in combat, so technically, he was brave. I respected the effort. I had no weapon. I had not been properly recruited or trained. I reached for something, anything. A salvage crate slid toward me as the ship tilted under enemy tractor lock. From inside it, I pulled a plasma torch and ignited it. The flame roared into a spear of blue heat. It was not a weapon. It was a tool. But I had always been good with tools. A trooper lunged across the cabin. I ducked under his swing, rolled, and slashed upward. The plasma torch sliced through his thigh armor. He shrieked as molten metal fused against his flesh. He dropped and I shoved him aside before he could recover. I did not have Zara's precision or Mabel's ruthless calm. But I moved with raw survival, and right now that was enough. More troopers pushed in. 10 of them, then 15. Our hull could not take this kind of breach. We were seconds from either decompression or capture. Neither seemed appealing. Zara switched firing modes and vaporized another attacker. Then she saw something behind them and swore under her breath. Executioners. These were not regular soldiers. They were the armored enforcers who managed mass killings like the one that destroyed Halcyon Ridge. They wore thicker plating, heavier helmets, and their weapons were not rifles. They carried hooks and shock blades. These were hunters of broken civilians. Their specialty was fear. The largest one stepped forward. His voice was a digitized growl from behind the mask. Target secured. Do not kill. Restrict their hands and remove their tongues if necessary. He moved faster than something that size should be capable of. 2 of our automated defense turrets popped from the ceiling, but he dodged the tracking beams and hurled an energy chain that ripped them backward, shattering them. The chain retracted and rewound to his wrist with a harsh electric hum. He pointed at me. The target is him. Kill the rest. That made things personal. Zara grabbed my coat and shoved me toward the back hatch. Get to engineering. Seal it. Do not open it for anyone but me. Like hell I am hiding while you fight. That is an order. I hesitated just long enough to duck another bolt of enemy fire. I turned and sprinted. The corridor was narrow, smoke filling it, sparks raining from exposed wiring. I slammed my hand on the emergency seal, and the blast door locked behind me. The muffled battle screams on the other side echoed through the metal, making my heart pound. I heard Mabel shout something that sounded suspiciously like a threat to rearrange someone physically. A second later, something exploded. The old woman laughed. I had officially underestimated her. The engineering bay was dim, lit only by backup systems. The consoles flickered erratically. Jax had really pushed this ship beyond its limit. I found the main drive core and checked the panel. Damage reports flashed across the screen. Starboard shield failure. Navigation failure. Comms disabled. Weapons offline. But the hyperdrive was still intact. Then I saw something else. A blinking warning. Docking clamp override. The enemy destroyer had locked us in place with a grappling corridor. Even if we jumped, we would drag them with us or tear the hull apart. Neither appealed to me. I needed a way to break the clamps. I rummaged through the storage bay and found a disruptor coil. High voltage, unstable, capable of overloading magnetic lock. Perfect. I wedged myself into a cramped maintenance shaft above the floor and crawled toward the power couplings that connected to the rear hull clamp. Sparks bit at my hands. My arms scraped raw against metal. I hated tight spaces. But if I stopped, we would all get captured, and I was not letting Mira die alone in space somewhere. I reached the end, swung down onto a latch, and began wiring the disruptor coil manually. Static licked my skin. My fingers trembled not from fear but from voltage. A metallic thud echoed below. My chest tightened. Someone else was in engineering. I powered off my torch and killed my light. Silence. Then heavy footstep. Imperial boot. 1 soldier. Maybe 2. They were searching. I stayed still. I held my breath. A faint humming noise came from below as one trooper scanned with a motion sensor. My pulse roared in my ears. The disruptor coil beeped, completed. The trooper heard it. He turned sharply toward the noise. He reached for a ladder. Someone shot him in the back. He collapsed just as Skorix crawled awkwardly through a side hatch, panting. "There you are," he said. "I thought you might need assistance or comfort or emotional support." I blinked. "Skorix, you left cover." "Yes," he said, shaking as he reloaded. "That was a terrible decision. But here we are." Another trooper burst in. Skorix screamed and fired wildly. The bolt hit a coolant pipe. Frost exploded outward. Liquid nitrogen covered the floor. The trooper slipped, crashed to the ground. I dropped onto him and hit his helmet with the plasma torch. He went still. I shoved the final cable into the disruptor coil and armed it. I looked at Skorix. "When I hit this, the clamps break, but it will overload power. The hyperdrive might fail. And if it does not fail, we have no coordinate." We could jump into a star. Or a black hole. Or inside a planet. Skorix stared, horrified. There is a 98% chance this ends in our death. That is the best math I have heard today, I said, and punched the coil. The whole ship screamed. The lights went nuclear bright, then dark. The enemy clamps released with a shriek of tearing metal. Gravity failed. My stomach floated. Somewhere up front I heard Jack's cheer. The engines flared to life. The stars stretched. We jumped. The void swallowed us whole. Hyperspace was a tunnel of light strangled by storms. The ride was anything but smooth. The ship twisted and shook. I could not tell if we were traveling forward or being torn apart atom by atom. Then as fast as it began, it ended. Space should not feel haunted, but this place did. The dead fleet surrounded us like silent witnesses, a frozen armada eclipsing the stars. Our ship drifted between colossal war cruisers bearing the scars of forgotten battles. Hull plating torn open, engines gutted, names half erased. Yet in their stillness they seemed to stare at us. Watching. Waiting. No one spoke. We were trespassers in a graveyard of human history. Zara finally exhaled, slow and controlled, as if afraid her voice might wake ghosts. Who said that, she asked. I swallowed. It did not come from a person. It came from everywhere at once. Every wall panel. Every system. The ship itself spoke, layered with 1,000 voices. Male. Female. Old. Young. One being with many echoes. Welcome home, Eli. Cross, the voice repeated again. Mabel stared straight ahead, her expression unreadable. Jack scratched his head with nervous confusion. Skorix looked ready to faint. Zara lowered her weapon. That is impossible. These ships are from before the fall. This fleet disappeared before I was born. Decades before any of us. That is not a fleet, Jax whispered. That is a legend. Guardian, I said without meaning to. The voice replied. I am Guardian. Defensive intelligence of the first human fleet. 62 years ago I ordered this fleet into concealment after the fall of Sol Command. Preservation protocol. Awaited signal. Signal detected. Eli Cross authenticated. This is a trick, Zara said sharply. You expect me to believe humanity hid a superfleet for decades while we begged the galaxy for scraps that one AI controls hundreds of warships, and you just waited for a guy from a repair shop? Guardian replied instantly. You are incorrect. Most of the fleet is inoperable. Only 28 vessels remain functional. Full command requires Admiral DNA authorization. Admiral, I laughed incredulously. Yeah. That is funny. I am not a soldier. I am not from some secret bloodline. I fix power converters and swear at Bolt. Incorrect, Guardian said. Admiral Elias Cross issued final command 62 years ago. Gene lineage confirmed. Eli Cross. Relation brother line synthesis direct. You are biological successor. My brain stalled. My father died in a mining accident. My mother worked in a hydroponic dome. Neither of them served in a fleet. My family never wore uniforms. Nobody talked about any admiral. That is not possible, I forced out. My family is no one. Your family protected Earth, Guardian replied. Your lineage continued in secret. Data locked. Encryption level 7. Access only by request. Zara stepped closer to me. Eli. If there is even a chance this is real, then you need to open that lock. I was still processing that a hidden war fleet existed, that it knew who I was, and that the galaxy wanted me dead for reasons I did not understand. The idea that some long-dead admiral shared my DNA belonged in a conspiracy stream, not real life. But there was Mira. There was the execution broadcast. There was the Empire. Everything pointed toward some buried truth being dragged into the light. I breathed out. Guardian. Unlock the file. Authorization accepted, Guardian replied. Playing final record of Admiral Elias Cross. A hologram ignited in the engineering bay. A man stood there tall and battle-hardened in command armor marked with the Sol crest. His face carried the weight of war. Hair black like mine. Eyes defiant even at the end. He looked straight into the recorder with the expression of someone who knew he would die very soon. "If you are watching this," he said calmly, "the war is over. And we lost. The Galactic Empire rose fast, faster than we could understand. They wiped out our colonies. They took our outer defenses. We fought, but we were divided. Humanity destroyed itself long before anyone else could." He paused. The recording showed flickering explosions behind him. He was in a war zone. There was only one choice left. I ordered a retreat. I hid what remained of our forces here. The hope buried with us is simple. Humanity must not die. Earth must survive. Our species will rise again. And when it does, someone will find this fleet. Someone who refuses to surrender. He leaned closer, as if he could somehow see me across time. "If you are my blood, if Guardian chose you, then you are that person. Do not run from this. Do not hide. You are cross. And that means when life tries to break you, you make it regret trying." The recording ended. Silence held the room hostage. Zara looked between the frozen hologram and me. "Eli, this changes everything. A hidden fleet changes everything." Mabel finally spoke. "The Admiral gave his life to bury this power until humanity was ready to rise again. But it sounds like Guardian thinks that is now." I backed away, shaking my head. "No. No, no, no. Listen to me. I do not care who that man was. He is not me. I am not a leader. I am not a commander. I am not carrying an entire species on my back. I just want my sister back." Zara met my gaze. "And to get her back we need power." Her words stabbed into me. She was right. Alone we would die. One ship meant nothing. A handful of people meant nothing. But a fleet gave us a chance. The question now was the cost. Before I could respond, the comms panel screamed with static and a transmission broke through. "Here you are," a cold voice said. "I thought I lost you in the jump." The screen flickered to life and revealed a nightmare I recognized. Imperial armor. Orange molten eyes. It was the executioner who had ordered the deaths of 70,000 people. His name displayed beneath him in alien glyph. "Executor Seraxis," Zara growled. He stared right into me. "The infamous Eli Cross. Humanity wants to turn you into a symbol. The galaxy loves symbols. They are so easy to break." "How did you track us?" Zara shouted. "Did you think the Empire does not know about the hidden fleet?" Seraxis replied. "It took decades, but we found pieces. We never located the center. Until now." He leaned closer. "I am coming for you. And when we capture you, I will broadcast your death to Earth myself." The feed cut. Zara cursed. "They found us." Guardian interrupted. "Long-range sensor contact. Imperial destroyers detected. 11 vessels inbound. Estimated contact 12 minutes. Jax rubbed his face. 11 destroyers. That is like throwing a tank at a squirrel and hoping it vaporizes. "There is no way we can outrun them," Zara said. "Not with our ship this damage. Or fight them," I added. "We are one ship. They are 11. Guardian spoke again. "You are not one ship. Fleet activation sequence available. Command required." Zara turned to me. "Eli." I looked between them. The wrecked fleet outside. The enemy coming. The executioner who murdered 70,000 humans personally hunting me. I had two choices. Run and hope for mercy, which we would not get. Or rise into something terrifyingly larger than myself. "Guardian," I said, voice steady. "Activate the fleet." "Authorization required," Guardian answered. "Command code cross line 1. I did not know what to say. Then something surfaced from a place deeper than memory. Words I had never heard yet somehow recognized. "For Earth. For every world we lost." Guardian's voice boomed like thunder. "Command accepted. Fleet online." 100 ships lit up like resurrected giant. Engines awakened in blazing blue fire. Systems hummed back to life. Guns unfurled. Battle shields surged. One by one these sleeping titans rose into formation around us. The void between fleets was so still it felt like the universe was holding its breath. 11 Imperial destroyers advanced in a perfect kill formation, black and red warships shaped like blades cutting toward our position. They dwarfed our battered civilian gunship, but they did not yet comprehend the wall of power awakening behind us. The reborn human fleet rose in silence, a ring of steel giants preparing to meet an enemy that believed we were extinct. They believed we were prey. Today they would learn. Fleet Weapons Online Guardian confirmed, its voice vibrating through the ship walls. Awaiting command sequence. I stood at the center console in the bridge, surrounded by Zara, Mabel, Jax and Scorix. Every fiber of me screamed that this was impossible. I was a mechanic, not a commander. I should not be leading a fleet. And yet everyone was looking at me, waiting. The galaxy would not give me time to become ready. Readiness was a luxury the dying could not afford. Channel to Executor Saraxis, I said. Zara opened the feed. The skull-faced visor of the Imperial Executioner appeared again, crackling over static. Behind him, red war banners flickered. You raised a fleet from the grave, he said slowly. You stole power that belongs to the Empire. Wrong, I said. You stole it first. We are just taking it back. Saraxis tilted his head with cold amusement. Do you understand what happens next? That depends, I said. You can still retreat. You can still live. He let out a low laugh that did not sound human. You mistake mercy for weakness. The Empire does not retreat. We purge. Then he gave the order. Destroy them. I cut the feed. Zara looked to me. Orders. Guardian show enemy formation layout, I said. Tactical display lit the air before me. 11 destroyers. They were faster and had longer range weapons. If they surrounded us, we would be shredded before we could respond. Heavy ships forward, I said. Formation cross shield protocol Theta 9. Guardian paused. That formation is classified. How did you know? I had no answer. I had never heard of Theta 9. And yet I knew exactly how it moved. Like muscle memory from someone else's life. Executed, I said. At once Guardian replied. The human fleet surged into motion. 4 dreadnoughts glided forward, forming a diamond shield wall. Battleships spread behind them, cannons rotating to cover every angle. Support craft slipped between lanes of fire like threads in armor. The formation locked in place, a massive defensive spear point aimed at the heart of the Imperial line. Incoming fire, Zara shouted. Beams of crimson plasma slammed into our forward line. Human shields flared under the assault but held. Return fire, I said. A wall of energy answered back. Human cannons, silent for 6 decades, roared awake and painted space with thunder. The void erupted into war. The first Imperial destroyer lost shields and rolled to avoid impact, but our right flank opened up with a barrage of hyper-torpedoes. They hit its spine and blew it into molten shards. Jax whooped. That is what I am talking about. Another destroyer broke formation and charged. Bring carriers forward, I said. Launch drones. Thousands of autonomous strike drones swarmed like angry stars, weaving between enemy fire and hammering their engines. Saraxis will adapt, Zara warned. He is not stupid. No, he is not, I said. Which means this is not his real plan. Alarms screamed. Guardian spoke. Warp anomaly detected behind us. They had jumped ships behind our line. More destroyers shimmered into existence around the fleet. They had flanked us. They want to encircle, I said. Collapse wings inward. The fleet moved like an extension of my thoughts. Zara watched me with unreadable eyes. Mabel stared calmly, battle-poised. Scorix muttered panicked encouragement to himself as he fired defensive turret. Jax yelled something about how ridiculous it was that drones survived 60 years in space, while his coffee machine died in a week. The new destroyers unleashed fighters. Squadrons of razor-wing interceptors screamed across the battlefield, streaking toward our flagship. Zara aimed defense cannons. We will not hold much longer. We do not need to hold, I said. We need to strike. Hit their command chain. Destroyer Epsilon lead. Lock and fire. Our central dreadnought fired a spinal beam so bright it cast shadows across the entire fleet. It tore through space like a blade, pierced the enemy destroyer mid-core. The vessel erupted. Enemy formation fractured, Guardian said. Command link disrupted. They are panicking, I said. Push harder. We pressed the advantage. The human fleet advanced by calculated strikes, forcing the Empire to scatter and react. This was not brute force. This was strategy. This was war fought with precision. And it felt disturbingly natural. Every order came not from fear but instinct. Saraxis returned to the screen without our request. His molten eyes burned through the static. Impressive, he said. But power does not belong to cowards hiding behind relic. Let me show you power. Then from the darkness behind his fleet, something massive moved. Larger than any destroyer. Larger than anything I had ever seen. Guardian spoke with urgency. Warning. Executor Dreadship Leviathan class. Heavy annihilation platform. It can wipe fleets. The colossal warship rose like a nightmare from deep space. Its hull was covered in spines and scorched runes. Its weapon array was larger than cities. Its main gun opened like the jaws of a titan. Saraxis bowed slightly. Die with your reborn fleet, Eli Cross. You will be a glorious message to Earth. He fired. The beam was no longer just plasma. It was raw destruction. Space trembled as the superweapon built to erase worlds unleashed toward us. Zara shouted, brace. We would not survive. Even Guardian did not have a solution. Until something happened that no one expected. Another ship dropped from hyperspace right between us and the beam. An alien vessel. Small but fast. Shield humming. It took the full blast of the superweapon and held. Barely. Its hull glowed red. Shields cracked. But it held. On our comms an alien voice spoke. You saved one of ours. My debt is paid. Skorix gasped. That is a Carthan Warden cruiser. But they hate humans, Zara said. Not anymore apparently, I said, stunned. The Carthan ship fired a volley into the Leviathan to force it to vent heat. Guardian, I said. Target that vent. All cannons. Fire. Every surviving ship unleashed a final strike. The Leviathan was hit at full charge. Its reactor went critical. The explosion tore across the battlefield. When the blast cleared, the superweapon was gone. Just drifting wreckage and dying embers. Zara stared in disbelief. We won, she said slowly. We actually won. Not yet, I said, turning to Guardian. Track Executor Saraxis. One escape vessel detected, Guardian said. He fled. He will be back, Zara said. Good, I said. So will we. Guardian, I said, open broadcast. Channel ready. I spoke to every star. To every world. To every slave who thought hope was dead. This is Eli Cross. The Galactic Empire is not invincible. Humanity is not broken. We are done kneeling. If you see this, fight back. Rise. The galaxy is not theirs. It is ours. End transmission, Guardian said. Stars reflected in Zara's metal arm. Skorix sat stunned. Jax wiped a tear before pretending he did not. Mabel nodded once, like she had seen something like this long ago. The message repeated again and again like a heartbeat of doom. Imminent annihilation countdown. Strategic target Earth. Estimated time until termination 72 hours. The fleet bridge fell into a stunned silence broken only by alarms and the trembling voice of Guardian translating hidden urgency. The Galactic Empire was not retreating. It was retaliating. They had lost a battle and now they would destroy humanity to make an example across the stars. The screen crackled and an encoded distress transmission finally broke through. An image resolved. Earth Defense Command War Room. Towering screens. Red emergency lights. Officers shouting orders. Smoke. Then in the center an old man stepped forward wearing a uniform of the fleet. His presence cut through the chaos. General Rowan, I recognized him from history channels. A man carved by war. Eli Cross, if you are out there, he said into the transmission, Earth needs you. The Empire has weaponized something called the Prime Extinction Array. A planetary eraser attached to an orbital ring. It is charging now. We cannot break through their blockade, and conventional weapons cannot reach it. Guardian chose you. If you can hear this, you are humanity's last chance. They are going to wipe us from existence. A tremor passed through me like a deep quake rising from the soul. Earth, Mira, everyone, everything left. If we failed, this would not just be a loss. It would be extinction. Zara turned to me. Say the words, she said. Give the order. Get us to Earth, I said. Guardian responded immediately. Calculating warp route. Risk analysis extreme. Enemy blockade density absolute. Probability of fleet survival 17%. 17%, Jack said. That is practically a guarantee. Mabel coughed once, sounding like a storm cloud. Good odds. Scorix trembled. Please do not inspire confidence like that. Jump, I said. Hyperspace tore open. The fleet burned through the jump corridor faster than anything should safely travel. Space blurred into arcing colors and gravity tried to fold us into origami. Then the descent hit and reality snapped back like a cosmic whip. Earth filled the viewscreen. Blue, white, alive, but ringed by fire. The blockade was a planetary cage. Hundreds of Imperial dreadnoughts formed a burning perimeter around Earth. Battle stations hung across orbit, and above them at the pole of space like a black crown was the Prime Extinction Array. A spiked superstructure spinning slowly, drawing energy from nearby stars. Scorix's voice cracked. That thing will tear the planet into molten dust. It is a forbidden weapon even by Imperial code. They built it anyway, Zara said. Monsters always find ways to justify new horrors. Guardian scanned. Countdown at 59 hours 32 minutes. Full planetary annihilation on schedule. We have no time to bomb through their blockade, Zara said. They will close ranks and crush us. Then we do not go through, I said. Zara stared at me. Eli, whatever insane thought you just had, bottle it for later. No, listen. They expect a frontal fleet battle. They want to pin us between rings of fire. But that array is too big. Too heavy. It needs a central control core inside the main citadel. If we take that out, we stop the weapon. And how exactly do we get inside the most heavily defended structure in the solar system, she asked. By making them think we cannot, I said. Final plan, I said to Guardian. Split the fleet. Main fleet attacks blockade and draws all fire. Second wave cloaks and breaches the citadel with a strike team. Jax blinked. Cloaking, we do not have cloaking tech. Guardian corrected him. Guardian fleet ships are equipped with active graviton stealth layering. It was classified tech. Jax grinned so wide it was dangerous. I love classified tech. Zara took a step closer. Strike team, who goes in? Me, I said. Of course, she said. And you, I added, nodding to her. Jax pointed at himself. I am not staying behind while you two have all the fun. Mabel loaded her shotgun. I go where the fight needs doing. Scorix hesitated, then lifted his tiny blaster with surprising resolve. I come too. Someone must scream warnings of danger logically and constantly. It was insane. Reckless. Low chance of success. Everything that mattered. Guardian pulled 3 heavy cruisers from formation and activated stealth. The rest of the fleet formed into battle lines and surged forward straight into hell. The blockade opened fire. Light cut through the sky. Our fleet answered back. The battle for Earth began. Our cloaked cruisers slipped beneath the inferno unseen and stabbed through orbital defenses before the blockade could seal. We dove into the storm. A direct approach to the citadel was impossible. Mines and sentry guns guarded every corridor of space. So we did what any desperate humans would do. We crashed into it. Our cruiser rammed through a citadel hangar bay, and we jumped out before the inferno consumed the ship. Metal screamed. Fire erupted. Alarms blared. Imperial troopers charged from every direction. We fought through them. Hand to hand. Plasma to steel. Fire to fury. Mabel laughed as she fought. Zara moved like a war god. Jax fought dirty like he had been born in bar fights. Scorix screamed but somehow always shot the right enemy. We reached the core chamber. It was massive beyond reason. A bridge of metal floating over an abyss of energy. At the center, a pillar of circuitry climbed into infinity, feeding the extinction array above. Standing at its base was Executor Seraxis. His molten eyes locked on me. "You brought a fleet," he said. "You rallied worlds. You dared resist." He stepped forward, gripping his energy chain. "I warned you, Eli Cross. Symbols are easy to break." He struck first. The chain lashed lightning across the bridge. Zara blocked it with a shield burst, but the force sent her skidding back. Mabel fired. Seraxis deflected it with one contemptuous swipe. I ran at him and ignited a plasma spear I had built on the way. He swung the chain. I ducked, rolled, and stabbed. He dodged and slammed his gauntlet into my chest. Pain exploded as I slammed to the floor. "You cannot win," he said, towering. "The Empire is eternal. You talk too much." I spat blood. Then I saw it. The power core flows behind him. A weak point. There. We did not need to beat him. We needed to end this. I shouted to Zara, "Strike the core." She nodded instantly and sprinted. Seraxis turned and launched his chain, but Jax tackled him mid-strike. The impact knocked Jax aside but bought a heartbeat. Mabel sprinted low and hit Seraxis in the knee with a shot that cracked armor. Scorix screamed, distracting him further. Zara leaped across the gap and drove her blade into the core. The entire tower shuddered. Alarms blared. Guardian spoke into my ear. Chain reaction begun. Citadel collapse imminent. Seraxis roared with fury and lunged at Zara, but I intercepted him. He lifted me by the throat, but I jammed the plasma spear into his armor and burned with everything I had. Plates cracked. Circuits burst. His molten eyes dimmed. "No," he growled. "You cannot stop it." I forced the spear deeper. "We already did." He fell. The citadel began to tear apart. We ran. Hallways collapsed behind us. Fire consumed corridors. We reached the hangar, but there were no ships left. The explosion reached upward into the orbital array. The weapon broke apart in a wave of molten debris. Earth was safe. But we were trapped. I saw escape pods, but only one remained functional. One seat.